You like that little bit of editing? Let's go right before we go, Thomas.
Absolutely, we should go.
That's my that's the my maximum musical editing skills right there for sure.
Well, you're better than me because mine suck.
So we're off to race today. Well, these races are going to be Saturday night in the U.S. into Sunday morning in the U.S., correct?
Right.
And we're off to Sha Tin in Hong Kong. Tell us what's the significance of going to Sha Tin in Hong Kong for Sunday morning racing.
Well, these are the Champion Day races. So we have 3 Group 1s, and I think we picked out 2 very competitive Class 2 races, and we get to see some of the best racing in Hong Kong right now.
Is this one of the times that they let more like international horses in?
No, this is restricted to Hong Kong horses.
These are all Hong Kong horses. Yeah. Okay.
Well, they're pretty good on their own.
So. Yeah, I've noticed some of the names before, so that's why I was wondering if there was a little bit of more flexibility this time around.
Yeah, no, the VAS and those races are open to international entries. These races are restricted to people who, and in a lot of sense, I think it makes a lot of sense because you want to keep your locals happy, but you also want to give them an opportunity to run for some big bucks. And if Golden 60 wins, he becomes the richest Hong Kong-based horse ever.
Ooh, he's got a lot online there. So speaking of a lot
online, it's $1 million he could win.
Yeah, plus being the richest horse ever. That's it's an achievement, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
And let's be honest. I mean, if he was to go to Europe, I think he'd be very competitive there too.
Yeah, I would say so. A horse that's won as many races as it has. Speaking of winning races, we took our luck last night on the Players Edge podcast with Horse Racing Nation, Sarah L. Bodway. So check that out. We covered the Apple Blossom. We covered the Oaklawn Handicap and the Oaklawn Stakes. And we all answered the $1 million question. Can anybody beat Latruska at Oaklawn Park? So we both kind of think the pace sets up. Probably not, but go ahead and take a look at that over at Horse Racing Radar TV on YouTube. You can catch that as well as all of the great content that we stick up on over there. So now we're going to do some great content at Sha Tin, starting in race number 5, I think, on their card, right?
Yes.
And I hope I got this right here. Let's see. Do I have them in the right order? I think I do have them in the right order. Okay, so the first one that we're going to cover here is, well, I told you beforehand, I'm not 100% sure, is the Bullish Luck Handicap. Now, question, would you rather have luck or be good in this game?
I think you need a little both, but I prefer the luck at this point.
Sometimes, especially when you're trying for higher odds, right?
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
So this
some racing luck too. I mean,
oh yeah,
everybody wants to make Derby picks right now, and I'm like, yeah, I want to see the draws. I mean, you get stuck out in 20.
Tough spot to be, right?
That's a tough place to be. Yeah.
So this first race coming up is a 1 mile race. And then 1 mile on the furlong and the meters, because we got the meters here, Tom, is what is it going to be? 1600. So it's going to start here.
Yep.
And then it's going to come around. Well, they certainly aren't going to go like this. That would be interesting, though.
Well, that's the Grand National.
Yeah, that is the Grand National, except all the horses fall down. So they're going to come around. This is a 1-turn, 1 mile race. So here in the States, 1 mile, 1-turn races, you typically want to look towards horses that can get to the front. Do you feel like that's the same sort of thing we ought to be looking at Sha Tin?
No. The closers have the advantage, I think, for the most part. I mean, I've rarely seen horses get on the front and be able to maintain it, especially at this level. I think it was, if you were talking about a Class 4 or Class 5 race, then I would have to think a little harder. But at this level, it's pretty tough.
Closers.
So closers are going to be the ones, and that's what I look for.
So just a little couple of quick tidying up points. The track right now, the going is listed as good, and if you plan on watching these races, this is Tom's kind of racing, the Insomnia Racing. It's going to start on Saturday, so actually Sunday morning, depending on how you look at it, but 2:25 a.m. Eastern. So right as Tom is coming in from a night out, straight into the horse racing. So what do you like, Tom?
I took number 4, Turin Red Sun, as my top choice. Got 11 starts, 2 wins, and 2 placings. It's won at the distance once out of 5 tries, and it's also run off a first up coming off the layoff. The reason I really like this horse is because he gets some class relief here. He's been running in the Hong Kong Derby and some other top races, and he was class 3, and they moved him up, and why not take a chance? It's big money, see what you got. I think bringing him down back to try a class 2 level, I think makes more sense. We'll see. He ran 3rd in a barrier trial at 1,200 meters, and frankly, his distances that he's won at is between 1,400 and 1,600. So I think that's a little too short for a barrier, but for the racing, but for his abilities, I think that was fine as a prep for this race.
Mm-hmm.
He's only won once this year, so why did I pick? I mean, I picked him because of the company he's keeping and in his running. I mean, the last 3 races he's faced 14 horse fields. He's finished 4th, 2nd, and 6th. A little class relief may be just what he needs. He needs a little luck. He does have draw 8, so that's going to be a little tough, but we'll see what happens. Number 5, Beluga, is my next choice. 17 starts, has 5 wins and 8 seconds. It's won and placed from 2 tries at this distance. And when he's been first up, he does pretty well. His win and 3 placings. He's won at this level before, and he likes, really, I said to myself, what don't I like about the horse? Well, he likes the distance. He likes coming off layoffs. He's got a good barrier. He's had 2 good barrier trial races as preps, and the only thing I could find negative to him was draw 10. So that's why I didn't put him on top. Finally, I'm going to take what should be the prohibitive favorite, I think, is going to be number 1, Beauty Joy. Has 10 starts, 6 wins, and 2 placings. It has 3 runs at this distance, and it has 1 win and a placing. It won both of its barrier trials as preps for this race, and it's won at this level before, and it's 2 for 3 from first up tries. This horse looks versatile to me, which is, let's face it, there are not a lot of versatile horses out there who can sit near the lead and win, on the lead win, and come from from the clouds, so to speak, and win. And this one appears to be able to have that ability. Certainly reflects on its record, winning 6 times. And it has a favorable draw, so it has draw 3, and I think that'll help it a lot.
Well, I do like Beauty Joy too as my second choice. I kind of ran through the pace setup in this race, and just looking at it, it kind of goes like this from the front, like front runners to closers. So there's like this 45-degree angle down, a lot more closing, or horses that prefer to be towards the back, sort of horses that you said, Tom, probably should fare well here. You had mentioned that one of the horses in here had the ability to show a lot of versatility. And for me, that horse that has a lot of versatility is the 2 horse, My Sugar. It's a horse that can sit on the pace, right behind the pace, or can come from off the pace. Looks like one that's improving to me, and also looks like a horse that's done pretty well on this track. It's ran there 11 times, 5 wins, 2 seconds, 2/3, has a win at the distance, and seems to prefer the footing. So you're going to get a good track. He's run on the good track every single time, and that's where he's compiled that record. So pretty confident that My Sugar will be well positioned to make a chance to take the race. I do, as I mentioned, like the favorite, Beauty Joy, as my second choice. My third pick, Thomas, I'm going to come a little bit farther down here in the odds in the rankings. I'm going to look at number 8, Soulmate. And the reason I like number 8 is he's one that, again, I mentioned that it looks like this speed. So a few speed horses, lots of closers. The 8 horse should be the tip of the spear in this race, 16-1, but it's run at the track 11 times, has a couple of wins, a second and a third, seems to like the distance, and has done all of its damage for the most part on a good track. So I don't know that Soulmate can win this race, but I do think that'll be forwardly placed and then have a shot as if he can get the right pace to bring the race home. But I think probably what happens is he fades, one of those closers gets him, and he hangs around for a piece of either the exacta or the trifecta. And then my fourth pick is your first pick, Beluga. The second race that we're going to do, Thomas, here.
Well, let's go back real quick.
All right.
But put a little note. I did do the speed maps for this race, and they actually think number 10 and number 2 are going to be the front runners in the prediction, with Soulmate sitting behind and with Beauty Joy right in that area. So it'll be interesting to see if those two go out and yours sits, your that long shot you like sits behind them.
Well, the way I do it a little bit differently than
the draw is really what affects it. So,
well, what I try to do in terms of my pace setup is how do they win, right? How have they won? So, in order for the 8 to win, he's got to be on the lead for the most part. Looking at the 2, he's got a little bit more versatility. Horses can try a whole bunch of different things, in my opinion, and be unsuccessful. So, when I craft out my pace map, it's not necessarily how they've been running lately. It's how they win. So that's how he has to win. The 8 has to be on the lead. If he's not on the lead, he don't have a shot. So if he's running second or third, then he's probably going to fade and be way, way, way back there. But
run out of gas.
And be kind of like where I am in that race for sure. So the next race is race number 6 that we're going to do. The 6th race is the Chairman's Sprint. Chairman, was that G now, right? Chairman 11. This horse race is 6 furlongs, Tom. So we come back over here to the 6 furlongs, and 6 furlongs, I'm going to guess, is 1,200. Is that right?
That is correct.
So they're going to start here, and it's less than 1 full turn around the track. This race is going to start, if you're up that late, is going to start at 3 a.m. Eastern. So maybe right as about some of the early birds are starting to get up. What do you expect in the 6 furlong race?
Well, I'm going to take number 2, Wellington, as my top choice. Has 15 starts, 9 wins, and a placing. 11 starts at this distance and 9 wins. So basically, it's pretty much a 6 furlong horse. Its last 2 races, they were Group 1s and Group 2 races, sitting mid-pack and getting up just in time. And he had both races, he had good trips. So, it took him a while he's been back and forth a little bit, and now he seems to be on a streak, and that's why I really had to put him in there. The only negative I could find, it does have draw 9, so he's going to have to get position, and may have to be used a little bit early. So we'll see how that pans out. Number 3, Lucky Patch, is my next choice. 18 starts, has 7 wins and 6 placings. At this distance, it has 5 wins and 3 placings from 10 starts. He's won first up off his layoffs both times, so 2 for 2. Last race is a toss because he was involved in a spill in the Hong Kong Sprint and didn't finish, and shouldn't have, because the jockey got tossed and he was in the hospital. He's had the break. He's obviously healed. He ran really 2 good barrier trials. He won one of them and finished second in the other one. So it looks like he's back to his in shape and ready to go. When he's won at 1,200, he's going 107. And in my book, that's quick. So, and this is going to be a fast race. There's no question about it. He likes to sit back, will be fanned out, lose more than a couple lengths on that turn, and then come barreling down for the wire. He's got number 11, post 11, so that's not great. But for the style he runs, I think he may be okay. Again, I don't think he'll win, but because I think Wellington's too tough here, but I think he's got a good chance. Number 6, Sight Success, is my next choice, or my final choice, I should say. has 17 starts, 7 wins, and 3 placings. At this distance, it's got 14 starts, 6 wins, and 2 placings. They're going to switch jockeys to one of the top jocks, Zach Putin, and this will be his first ride. Last start had a good second to Wellington. It really sat close to the lead and just couldn't get to the winner. It's an interesting horse because they've been bouncing him around between group races and class 1-2 races. So they're still trying to figure out what they got.
Mm-hmm.
But after 17 starts, you think they'd figure it out. If he can move forward here with the jockey change, he can hit the board. I don't think any problem with that. And he's got a good draw. He's got post 2. So just a matter of where he sits.
Speaking of where they sit, what does your pace chart look like for this race? Because for me, I have this one backloaded with a lot of closers and just a few that want to get up to the front. I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that want to close. I have 2 that look like they'll be on the lead, and then 2 that should sit off the lead with a chance to pounce. So if you think it's going to be a fast race, those 2 that sit in the middle should be well positioned.
Well, there's no question that Computer Patch will be the front runner, and he may have company with the 11 Kapunks.
That's what I have, the 9 and the 11.
Sight Sussex should sit behind him is the projection, with Lucky Patch, Master 8, and Hot King Prong in there, and the rest of them back.
All right.
So Skyfield, which should be the favorite, and Stronger, who I think will run a good race, but I'm not sure he can win, along with Wellington and those horses. So gives you some idea.
That's how I have it lined up too. So I'm going to start my first pick here with number 8. Master 8 wearing number 8. I don't know what post he's leaving from, Thomas, but
it should be right on there. He's leaving from 8.
Oh, so you got a lot of 8s abound, man. You cannot.
You see the 2 quotes right next to the number.
Right there, yes, 8. So race number 8, horse number 8. Word's name is Master 8. I mean, how do you go against something? There's too many 8s there, Tom.
Yeah, if you're an 8 player, that's perfect.
And you know how many times he's run in his life? 8. You know what his odds are? Morning line odds are
8-1.
8-1. I mean, if there's ever a time that you're going to put numerology to work, it's this one. But this horse has also run at this track 8 times, as I mentioned, won 5 of them. He's run at the distance 6 times, has 3 wins and 2 placings. So all of that stuff on the good surface. So I expect Master 8 to be well-positioned, take advantage of any kind of early pace and any misstep from the front runners if they go a little bit too fast. That'll be the horse that I think goes ahead and takes advantage of that. My second choice is your top choice. Going to probably be everybody's top choice or one of them, Wellington. And I just felt like Wellington was a horse that maybe was set up for a little bit of a disappointment in this race because it's not one that's fared. He's run great at the distance. He's run well at the track 9 times and 15 times he's won, 7 times at the distance. 11 times at the distance with 7 wins. Most of which are a good track, but he can throw some stinkers in there. And just kind of looking at the numbers a little bit, it looked to me like maybe there was a little bit of aggression in the last race. My next choice is number 6, Silent Success. That's another one of those horses, Tom, that you said should be forwardly placed. I'm expecting it to be forwardly placed. In fact, be one of the pressure horses, not on the lead, but also chasing the leaders. And this is a horse to me that looks like it's on the improve. And then finally, I'm going to close it out with the one that's probably going to be your leader, Skyfield. Skyfield is the one that I felt like showed some regression to me, Tom, in the last race as well. And its record at the track, 18 times, 5 wins, 3 seconds, 5 thirds. At the distance, ran 15 times, 5 wins, 2 seconds, and 4 thirds. So clearly a horse that usually is part of the picture at the end, but a lot of times just not part of the winning picture at the end. And that's why I kind of backed off him a little bit as the favorite there.
Well, let's face it, this is a tough race.
Well, they all are, right?
Well, they all are, but this one I think was the bigger challenge for me. This one and the last one. There's just abundance of of closers in this race, and it's just a matter of how if Computer Patch backs up, which I suspect he will. I don't think he's at this level. There's going to be a rush
cavalcade.
Yeah, it's going to be a charge right down that stretch.
So avalanche of horses coming for the finish line.
Yeah, so to me, it probably going to be a head bob.
Yeah, and probably a few of them. But before we get to the races Saturday night or Saturday morning, Sunday morning, today, if you're doing picks at Gulfstream Park, you can tune in to our friend Terry Hollywood Hayes' best bets for Golden Gate Fields. Today, race number 8. You kind of probably want to pay attention to Terry. I think yesterday he said his top pick for the month of April. We're in April. I'm sorry, April. No, tax time. April.
Well, it could be March, but he'd already won then.
Maybe that's why he's getting 44% right. He's still getting 56 wrong, though. But anyway, Zuboshi in race number 8 at Golden Gate Fields is Terry's top pick, followed by number 7, Miss Union. And then number 4, Iconic Sky. You can always find Terry's best bet of the day every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. In case you were wondering what every day means, he's better than the postman. No rain, no sleet, no snow, no earthquake out there, no nothing. They even had a tsunami out there in California, and Terry had his best bet up. So make sure you check that out.
He does his homework.
Yeah, he does. Like I said, clipping at about 41% this month with a positive ROI, and that's what you're looking for.
Yep, and it helps the bankroll.
Yes, especially with the Kentucky Derby coming up. So we're going to skip forward a race now to race number 8. This is hopefully I got this right, the Champions Mile on the turf, because Tom is skipping around a little bit on me there. This one is going to go off at 4:05 a.m. Eastern time. So I'll be deep into REM at that point, Thomas. Unlike you with the insomnia. But again, we're looking at 1 mile. So we're going to start back here again. Let's pull up the screen. We're going to start back here and come all the way around one turn. Again, Tom thinks that the closers are the way. This field, unlike the ones that we looked at before, to me, at least my pace setup, Tom, is more balanced than what we've seen in the first 2 races, where it's a little bit of a speed. It looks to me like there's one horse in the middle. So you got 3 that are going to probably press for the lead, 1 that's going to be in the middle connecting it to the 4 that want to close. Do you see the pace set up the same way?
I have California Spangle and Healthy Happy as the 2 front runners.
Mm-hmm.
With Walk Cuckoo is the sitting behind him, and the rest of them going to do the cavalry charge thing.
And this is the race where a chance for the horse to make history, Thomas. So is Golden 60 going to make history?
Well, it's got a good chance, that's for sure. This is a $20 million Hong Kong dollar race. So he's running for roughly $1 million in this race, US dollars. So that's not chump change.
No. And I found out the hard way that I first hit Hong Kong anyway, about that dollar conversion ratio.
Yeah. So with your triple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I couldn't get past Golden 60. I mean, he's run a couple that were not so great, but then he came bounced back and won a nice race last time out. Let's face it, you got 23 starts, you win 20 times. You're doing something right. With 2 placings, this distance he loves. He's got 9 wins and 1 placing from 10 starts. He won last time out. He was a little closer to leaders than he's been in a while, and made a 3-4 wide move and finished strong. And the time for the mile was 1 minute and 32 plus. So that was quick.
So what's he going to go off at?
1 to 5.
1 to 5. Yeah, I think probably maybe even 1 to 9.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the 2,000 meter race, which I really don't think is his distance, he ran 3rd. Let's face it, he's a miler. in my opinion, I don't think he's really suited for the longer distance races, even though he has won some. You know, the horse that broke his records and one of the other broke his winning record is in this race. But when he got beat, he was too far back at the bottom line. But his final quarter was in 22 seconds. That is fast.
Very fast.
And that was at the mile. He was just not in the right position to win the race. The winner got the jump on him, and yeah, it was over at that point. So I think he'll run a better race, and certainly the mile is absolutely his golden spot, so to speak. And he'll definitely be the record holder, or without question.
Mm-hmm.
I took number 8, California Spangle, as my next choice. His 9 starts, 6 wins, and 3 placings. So not one at this distance, but placed in this race from 1 attempt. Been running in top company. And in my mind, he's got a good barrier position to start from the post 5. And because he is a speed horse. And, I found interesting that Zach Pruta is going to take this ride versus Wakuku, who he beat Golden 60 with. And, if he can really do a measured ride and he got that clock in the head, this horse is going to be right there at the end. And he certainly proved it with 6 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, excellent proposal is my final choice. 19 starts, 7 wins, and 3 placings. 6 starts at the mile, and he has 2 wins and a placing. This is an up and down horse. There's no question about it. He hasn't won in 12 months. He's got 2 placings from 7 starts. So why did I put him in here? Well, from second up attempts, he's got 4 wins and 1 placing from 5 starts. So needed a race, looks like, and yeah. He's got the top services of one of the top jockeys in Hong Kong. I don't see him winning, but I think he's going to be right there. It's a tough bunch to win against, but I think he'll be closing and we'll pick up something here.
I'm going to start with the 8 horse, Thomas, California Spangle. I know Golden 60 is probably going to get beat and probably going to win, but as we mentioned when we were projecting what the odds might be, Golden 60 is probably going to go off. Morning line's 3 to 5. It's going to take money, so it's not going to go off at 3 to 5. So you got to try to find a horse that maybe has a chance to beat him. And I feel like the 8 horse here, California Spangle, has a shot to beat him. It's going to be forwardly placed. The horse has run at the track 9 times, has 6 wins, 3 seconds. So, and when he's lost, it's not been by much. He lost by 2/10 of a length. He lost by a half of a length. So that's really not losing by a lot. And I think the other time the horse was actually DQ'd. So that's, to me, the horse has really performed very well at the track. He's been really close when he hasn't hit. Of course, Golden 60 is a horse that you got to have in your mix. So I'm going to go with Golden 60 as my second choice. The Terry backdoor exacta, which is the way.
Big favorite second.
Yes, indeed. I like number 4, too, Mighty Giant. It's a horse that's run pretty well at the track. Ran there 19 times, 7 wins. 7 wins in 19 races on a good track. It's a horse that's probably going to be right. It's that connector. One of those horses I think has a chance to be a connector horse, but yet can be on the lead. So I think it'll more than likely sit right behind the front, the pace setters. And then once the pace starts to break down a little bit up front, Mighty Giant will have a chance to go ahead and find its way into passing some of those tired horses. And then finally, number 3, Way Cuckoo. That's my final selection for this particular race. And I like that horse, Way Cuckoo, because it's another horse that's performed pretty well at the track 25 times, won a third of those races. He's won 9 races in his lifetime. All of them were on a good track. But of the closers, it looks to me, outside of Golden 60, of the closers, it looks to me like the one that has the most late legs to it. So,
well, and remember, he beat Golden 60.
mhm.
So, and
But he did it the
he
next
got
time
the
they
jump.
faced
He
up.
got the jump on him, and Golden 60 was too far back, and that the race was over at that point.
I just look at this again. I feel like the pace is going to set it up a little bit, and it depends on how fast they decide to go up front. If they go too fast, then then you're going to have a problem with the speed horses.
I don't see that with the jockey up on California Spangle. I think he's going to do because he's definitely going to be one of the front runners here, and I don't see that. I see Zach really doing a measured ride on that horse, and again he chose it over the horse that beat Golden 60. So I found that a very curious move.
Well, he probably feels like it has a better chance to win. Race number 9. So we're going to skip forward. This one is the. I hope I'm right on these, Tom. I'm trying to keep up with all the different races we're doing. But race number 9 looks like the QEII Cup. So this is quantitative easing number 2 Cup. This one is a mile and a quarter. So I guess they're going to start all the way back here.
And then start just beyond the win place.
We're going to start here.
Finishing, yeah, we'll start there, and the first turn will come up quick, and then they'll go around once.
2 turns. All right, beautiful. So the first 2-turn race of the day. So here in the States, 2 turns means you want to focus on closers. And if you like closers, Thomas, this race is just packed with them. So they're what is there? There's 10 horses in the field. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 closers. Another that likes to maybe pressure or close, but more often than not, it wants to close. One that likes to sit in the middle, and then there's one that's all by itself as lone speed. Is that how you have the?
I have a number 6 reliable team is forecasted as the speed.
Me too. Lone speed.
With the lone speed. Well, 2 may show some kick too. And the rest of them in mid pack to the clouds.
Yeah, I have the 2 more of a pressure horse than I do a front. So I think he'll ride co-pilot. The question is how much does he push that 6 horse? Is that the questions to me?
Yeah, well, they're running for 25 million Hong Kong dollars. So what, a million, 1.2, 1.3 for US dollars for the win. Well, that's not chump change.
No, and all the more important than that you run reasonable fractions so you don't burn yourself out with a chance to get that, because they have a good shot to get to set the tempo.
Yeah, they pay through 6th place. So I mean, the 6th place makes 825,000 Hong Kong dollars. So it's about almost 200,000.
Still a good number, but I still would rather have that first place prize.
Oh yeah. That would make my pockets a lot happier.
So go ahead. This one starts when the roosters crow at about 4:40 a.m. Eastern.
You may be up for it. You never know.
Oh yes, or when the neighbors are coming in from all the clubs that close at 4 o'clock.
You never know.
Yeah, if they're done eating, they went to get the hot dog with chili and cheese. Now they're on their way home, and they're waking you up as they come in. So, what do you think is going to be the winner in this spot, Tom?
I'm going to take number 8. Romantic Warrior is my top choice. The 7 starts, 6 wins. He's 1 for 1 at this distance. Last time out, he won by, at this distance, at a whisker in the Hong Kong Derby. He sat 4th. He got shuffled back to 7th, then moved up to 3rd, and then went on and won. That's pretty good race. That's a challenge. I mean, anytime you look at it, that's a horse that's obviously got something. And, I like to see that pattern sometimes in a horse, because, you get shuffled, but you still, and you're stuck inside, but you still got enough to get out, get the kick, and get home. I had a barrier trial race coming into this race at 1,200 meters and finished a nice second. He's won at distances from 1,200 meters to 2,000 meters. And the trainer, I think, has done, he's moved him up in class, but he's also moved him up in distance slowly. So he started at 1,200, where he's got more than a few wins, then he won at 1,400, then won 1,600, then won at 1,800, and then won at 2,000. So it's an interesting pattern. I mean, we don't see that often. Where you move a horse like that, they're more than happy you're here to throw them into, 2-turn mile and a 16th race after a maiden win at 6 furlongs. Where this one is obviously wants to develop this horse, and 7 starts and 6 wins is pretty good. He's beaten in some of these horses, and he ran behind him in that one race, and let's face it, and some of those horses are running in some of the other races on this card. So he's got draw 6, and I think that's very favorable. Take number 1, Russian Empire, who should be our favorite. He has 18 starts, 3 wins, and 7 placings. He's at the distance. He's got 6 starts. He has 2 wins and 3 placings. Last out, he was beaten at 1,600 meters by Golden 60. He lost by 2 lengths. Well,
no shame in that.
That's no shame. Let's face it. He's run. He had a before coming in this race, he had a poor barrier trial, and then he went into a 1,200 meter race that he won easily. And that day, Golden 60 he beat, but in a longer race, and he won by 4+ lengths. So I really think that 2,000 meter is probably his distance. And this is one that won at Royal Ascot. He purchased in the UK. It took a little while for him to get going in Hong Kong. He had some seconds and whatever, but now he's got 2 in a row, and he looks like he's a real deal. And with draw 5, I think that helps. I took number 10. Zabrowski is my final choice.
Good Chicago name. Yeah. Zabrowski.
He has 21 starts, 5 wins, and 6 placings. He's number 1 at this distance from 3 tries, but has placed. So why pick? In this race, I have to admit I had a really tough time finding a third horse. I thought they were all pretty much bunched together after my first 2. He ran 6th Golden 60 last out, and Roman Empire. He won his 2 starts before at 1,800 meters in Group 3 races. So, I mean, he is moving up, certainly, but he's run well. They used a barrier trial race of 1,600 meters, which is unusual, as a prep for this race. And I thought that was, he's a little older and he's got 21 starts, but they're putting a little extra foundation in him to maybe get him into the position where he can, let's face it, there's a lot of money in this race. So you want to, if you can hit the board, you're going to get something for it.
Going to ring that register.
Yeah. And the only thing that really was a negative was the draw. He got number 10. And so he's going to have to get position in the back and then make his move. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm going to start where you started. So that scares me a little bit, Tom.
Yeah, that should.
We're both starting with Romantic Warrior. Now, the Romantic Warrior, as you mentioned, that record is just, he's run 7 times. He's won 6 of them. He's run at the track 5 times. He's won 4 of them. He's run at the distance 1 time. He won it. He's been on a good track every single race, and in every single race, he's run pretty well. So kind of hard to argue with that. The next horse on my list is number 6. That is Reliable Team. This is the one horse that I think is going to get out to the front by itself. And I don't know that it has a shot to win. Probably not. But the horse at the track run 19 times. He's won 3 of those races. Finished second twice. Finished third 4 times. So he's got a really legit shot, I feel like, to based upon his record at the track, especially when you compare it to the record of a lot of these other horses at this track.
Well, and he's won a Group 2 race at this track. So, I mean, he's no slouch.
And then on top of that, he's run at the distance 5 times. He's got a win and a pair of thirds. And you know what his morning line odds are, Tom? at least according to what I'm looking at.
20-1.
53-1, I see.
Oh, 53? Okay.
53-1. So you got a lone speed horse against a field of closers that can set the tempo and has had some success at the track and at the distance, likes a good surface. 53-1 seems, I think the horse runs better than 53-1. I don't know what running better than 53-1 is, but middle of the pack finish would probably be. But I mean, lone speed, he's got a chance to steal this race. I agree with you on number 10, Zabrowski. That is my, like I said, it's the good Chicago name right there, Zabrowski for sure. It's another horse that's done pretty well at the track. Ran there 6 times, has a win and a couple of seconds. The distance was okay, but on a good track, he's run 15 times, finishing the money of those first or second 7 of them. And just kind of looking at the horse when it runs. When it's got a good track, he doesn't get, when he gets beat, which lately on a good track, he hasn't been beat. The last 2 times he was out on a good track in a G3, he won both of those. So I feel like 21-1 is at least according to what I see here on my morning line, is too much of a value for Zabrowski. And then Russian Emperor, who you feel like is going to be the horse that's going to be the favorite. This to me, of all the races that we're looking at and all the favorites that we've seen in the 5 races that we're covering, this one looks to me to be the most fadeable. And I say it's the most fadeable because the horse doesn't seem to like to win, particularly on a good surface. Ran on a good surface 16 times, and he has 1 more win than you and I do running in horse races, Tom. Just 1 win in 16 good starts. So I think this is one that's learned how not to win and not how to win, but probably fills in the back half of the exacta or trifecta, but allows for you to look for value somewhere else on the card because he just hasn't performed on a good track.
Yeah, and I at those odds, I mean, yeah, Golden 60 is very short, but even short odds on this horse, based on what you're talking about, I tend to agree with you. I think he can finish in the money, but I don't know if he's going to win.
No, I mean, he just 1 win and 16 tries on a good surface. So he's had a lot of chances to win on a good surface and only managed to figure out how to beat all the other horses 1 time. And in this kind of race where you're talking about millions of dollars at stake, he's squaring up against a pretty good field. So he's going to have to be at the top of his game if he wants to bring it home. And it just hasn't shown to me that he can do it. So what I just basically did is I made the horse an L, a lock. He's going to win, and he's going to win by a lot because I said he ain't got no chance to win. So the final race of what we're going to do here today, Thomas, is the Silent Witness Handicap. I love some of the races names.
Well, that was the name of a very famous horse in Hong Kong.
All right.
And a very good sprinter.
And this one is 6 furlongs. So again, back to 6 furlongs. We're going to start here at 1,200 and then work our way around the track 1 time, a little bit more than 1 time. Well, not a little bit more than 1 time, but a little bit more than the kind of like a, what do they call that? What it's, I forget the name, where it's the same on one side as is on the other. What the hell is that called again? Symmetrical, right, around the turn. So it's not. It's a little bit asymmetrical. All right, Tom. So how do you like this race? Oh, by the way, before we go off to that, this race, the last race of the day, is going to start at 5:50 a.m. Eastern. So
you'll definitely be up for this one.
Definitely some of the birds and all that will be chirping and the noise will be starting outside. No question you'll be awake. All right. So
yeah,
now
this is a Class 2 race. And I went with number 3 as my top choice, Blazing Warrior. Has 10 starts, 5 wins, and 2 placings. At this distance, it's got 4 starts, 3 wins, and a placing. And first up, he's won and placed in his 2 attempts. I like his nice, good winning effort last time out in a similar race of this, and he literally was flying at the end. In this race, he'll definitely be at the end. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no question in my mind. But if he's closer to the pace, he seems to not win. So he needs to be back there. He has a barrier trial where he ran 5th, and it was just a barrier trial is the best way to describe it. He's tried better company and has not done well. But he's run very well at this level, and frankly, the post or draw is number 2, and I think that's a good draw for him. 4, Cody Septis 6, my next choice. 10 starts, 5 wins, and 3 placings. He's 1 for 1 at this distance. His last races were wins at 1,000 meters, which is the straightaway at Sha Tin, and then 1,200. And he did come off a class rise, so he moved up from the C3 races to the C2. And obviously, what I would refer to as a hot horse. He's done very well moving up because his ratings have increased. So they don't have a choice. They've got to go, and he just keeps winning. I love his barrier trial. I did a 5 furlong in 58 seconds, winning that barrier trial. That's quick.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going for 3 in a row. He's faced this group similar to this group last time out, and I think he'll make a good accounting himself again. 7, Keep You Warm is my final choice. 27 starts, has 3 wins and 9 placings. Never won at this distance. Has 18 starts, but has placed 8 times. So doesn't necessarily win at this distance, which I'm not predicting it to do, but it does like to finish in the money. It only has 1 win over the last 12 months, but again, I'm not looking for this to win. I went back and looked at the last 4 races. It's run 3rd, 2nd, and 4th. In all those races, it's set mid-pack. They are changing the jockey to one of the top jockeys, Zach Pruton, and who has won on this horse in the past. He's 1 for 1. So will that make the difference? Possibly. Will you get some good odds? I'd be surprised if you don't.
So you mentioned, Tom, that you feel like that horse is going to sit mid-pack. We didn't talk about the pace setup. I think a lot of horses want to sit mid-pack in this race. And then you have another big blob that wants to start off in the back. And then you have one horse, the 11 horse, to me, that looks like it's going to be the one that wants to get up towards the front.
Well, the 11, my forecast is 11 and 13.
11 and 13. Yeah, I have the 13 as part of that pressure group, but I have the 11 as probably the likely leader of this race. And because he's the likely leader of a race that's going to go off at 6 furlongs, he's also my top pick, and that is Lucky With You. So when you take a look at Lucky With You's past performances, he's done all right, Tom, at the track. The horse has run at the track 7 times, has 3 wins and 2 seconds. And you know where those 3 wins came, Tom?
Oh,
at today's distance,
yeah.
6 furlongs. So it looks like a morning line, 7-1. So you got some good numbers on that. I think the horse gets to the lead. I don't think he's going to have to run, incredible fractions to get himself home first. So I'm going to give him a shot to go wire to wire. I know we opened up the show saying that they don't go wire to wire here, but I can get a little crazy sometimes.
You never know.
Never can tell. And number 3, Blaze Warrior. This horse is another horse that just seems to really shine at 6 furlongs. The horse has run the distance 4 times. He has a second and a trio of wins. This is one that I think will be part of the closing group. But, man, this horse can make up and gobble up a lot of ground late. So, obviously he can because he's won 3 out of 4 at the distance, and he's not one that typically is forwardly placed. In fact, if you look at somewhere where he breaks, last race he broke 12th of 12th. The race before that he broke 14th of 14th. So, he'll probably be way in the back and come flying into the picture late. My next pick is right inside that horse. Maybe not in terms of on the track because one's post 13 and one's post 2. But Trillion Win, that's what they're running for over there, $1 trillion in Hong Kong money. But that was a horse, too, that's run pretty good at the distance and at the track. And so one that also looks to me like when it runs in races and not in barrier trials, it looks to me like this horse is an Allen Iverson horse. Practice? We talking practice? Get him out there in the race, and he does exceptionally well. So
yeah, but the big drawback on him is he's got draw 13.
Mm-hmm.
So
but he's also one
that
I think
that will scare me. That scares me a little.
Yeah, but I think what'll happen though, I know that you mentioned he has a draw 13, and I know that when we look at the way the race shape sets up, They're going to be starting here. They're going to get in that turn a little bit quickly, but I don't feel like he's going to have a whole lot to get in front of. There's really not a lot of inside pace in this race at all. A lot of them are closers. So the 11 is going to be to his inside. He will be to his inside, but there's not a whole lot of speed to its inside. So I think he has a really good shot to clear without running that fast to get into that initial turn. And then I'm going to bring it home, Tom, with a bomb today. We're going to Bomb City to close out this particular race, Tom. I'm going to go with number 4. And number 4 is not number 4. I'm sorry. Number 5.
I was going to say 4 is going to be one of the favorites.
I'm going to go with Winning Dreamer as my final selection. According to the morning line that I see, Tom, you know what his odds are? I'm really getting out of my mind here.
60 to 1, I think I saw.
Well, according to my thing here, 99 to 1. So according to the odds maker, this horse has almost no chance to win.
If you page down, they have the forecasted odds on the bottom of the listings.
So what do we have him in here? We have my guy, Winning Dreamer. They don't even give him odds. He's just odds.
Yeah, no, they do. It's
66 to 1.
To 1, yeah.
All right. So the program I looked at had him listed at 99 to 1. Anyway, 66 to 1, 99 to 1. What's the difference?
Yeah, really.
There really is no difference. But in any case, this horse, you know what? He's an all or nothing horse, Tom. And you give me an all or nothing horse with a lot of odds, with high odds, I'll take that shot. He's run on a good track 16 times, and he's won 6 of them. I finished third a couple of times. So every now and then, this is the kind of horse that pops up and bites you in the rear end in your exacta and trifectas because you toss him out and you think, this horse is horrible. And when you look at the distance, he's run there 12 times and won 4 of them with 2 seconds. So it's just a horse that's finished in the money 6 out of 12 times at the distance, is an all or nothing horse. And I think that the 5 horse is probably going to be middle of the pack relative to where a lot of these horses want to run. And if the pace is right, 66 to 1, 99 to 1, something 1 might be one that fattens up the backside of the. Well, you know what the thing is? I don't even think if he pops, it's not going to be for second or third. It's going to be when he pops to win. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for in an exacta box. Throw him in there, and it's his day to show up. And if it is at 66 or 99 to 1, no matter what comes in behind him, as long as you have it, that's going to pay nice, even in American dollars.
Yeah, well, most definitely.
Absolutely. And if that horse does come in, Tom, I think you have no choice but to head over to HRT, horseracingtoday.net, hit on the Horse Racing Today gear, HRT gear button, get yourself a t-shirt or a hat for yourself, for your loved ones. They even have kid sizes, so you just have to make sure you select kid sizes, head off to the track. You'll look better and you'll feel better, and you'll actually be a better handicapper according to 9 out of 10 dentists.
Well, yes, he may be an MTO or also eligible too.
Absolutely, 100% for sure. Hey, and if you haven't heard yet, I forgot to bring this up. We're going to run a contest starting tomorrow. It's called Jockey Survivor. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to post to our Horse Racing Today. So Horse Race Today on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, a jockey that you think is going to win a race tomorrow on Saturday. And every single day you have to post a jockey that you think is going to win. And if you're the last person standing, you're going to get a t-shirt or a hat from HRT Gear, like we just showed you, of your choice. And then you're also going to get an exclusive t-shirt that nobody else on the planet will have. That'll list you as the king of Jockey Survivor, or queen, should it be a queen who wins. You'll find the rules over on HRT, Horse Race Today on Facebook. So make sure you head over there. If you like what you saw today too, please give us a thumbs up on Facebook and hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Every Friday, Tom and I do Foreign Fridays, Monday through Thursday. Terry and I have a track of the day where we run down the whole card, make some best bets. We make long shot picks, pick fours. It's a really good time. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, Sean and I have a guest. We go through the day's news on Horse Center. Thursday night, like we did last night, we have the Player's Edge where we bring a guest in. We focus on the biggest races on the weekend. And tomorrow, Terry and I will be back at 11 a.m. to go over 2 stakes races at Aqueduct and 2 stakes races in great detail at Keeneland. Any final thoughts, Tom, before we get up and out of here? Enjoy our Friday.
Well, I'm, good luck at these races, because they're not easy. And if you're going to play them, and there's some other ones in here too, some class 3s that are pretty tough races. So you would be very interested. Also, make sure if you do like the Hong Kong racing, make sure you check out the Hong Kong Jockey Club's website, because they've got a lot of good stuff there. And also, there's some other sources out there that can provide you a little help with the Hong Kong racing. So there's an Australian website called Racing and Sport, and they cover the Hong Kong pretty solidly too. And gives you an opportunity to take a look at some of interesting, to say the least, racing, and they're running for really decent money there.
And I will recap. We'll recap the show with the notes on horseracingtoday.net. I'll get that up either later tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. So make sure you take a look at that. And then in that, I'll have a link to the past performances, free past performances that I use, along with some selections made by some experts. Not as expert as Tom and I are, where we take 99-1 shots. They don't have the guts to do that.
They're not going to do that.
No, they're going to hover right around the leaderboard. But anyway, that wraps up today, Tom. Hopefully, if you're betting at, like I will be a little bit later on today, at Keeneland and Aqueduct and at Tampa Bay, for another chance to try to qualify for a trip out to the handicapping championships out in Las Vegas.
And good luck with that.
The funny thing is, and like all these like qualifying tournaments, it usually takes me 1, maybe 2 to qualify to get into the big one. And then on the big one, I just I don't know why. It's not the same. I have a really hard time. And then usually what happens is I'll either start out really fast and then fade out at the end, or I start slow and then just like tons of momentum at the end. And hopefully today is different. I'm going to try a little bit of a different approach today than I've been trying in the past. Hopefully it can get me in a free trip off to Las Vegas. So whether you're playing in a contest, you're playing your picks at wherever you're playing, or you're getting prepared for Champions Day at Hong Kong and Sha Tin Racecourse, we hope that your day, your weekend, and everything that you do, Thomas, ends up in the
winner's circle.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. Everybody have a fantastic day.
Enjoy.